Hello, my name is Liz Stone and I'm a Bemidji State University design student. I also happen to be the mom of a 18-year-old and a 19-year-old and the office manager for a large construction company in northern Minnesota. This is my design proposal for the meetup space for the IAEE Expo trade show. The title of the piece is Block, Make Connections, Build a Network. For this project, we were asked to create a design for the Meetup Pavilion at the IAEE trade show. The Meetup Pavilion was envisioned originally as a place for relaxation, interacting with industry colleagues, and making new connections, and that still seems to be the vision of the Meetup Pavilion. It was well received when it was first implemented in 2014. Well attended in 2015, but then as 2016 and 17 rolled around, organizers began to notice that there was a decrease in interest, appeal, attendance, engagement, and perceived value by attendees to the trade show. The project goals are to rename the space, to bring notice to the newness of the space and the new experience that it offers. Hopefully it will become a must-go-to place, not only for relaxation and regrouping, but also as an opportunity for professional networking during and at the end of the trade show day. When thinking about who attends the trade show and who is in the industry, the phrase hipster business person comes to mind. I think this type of person can best be described as someone who is open to new ideas and out-of-the-box thinking. They do work well in a group. They range in age from their 20s to 40s, and their business suit is definitely business casual. There's a certain level of excitement that always seems to be brewing within the hipster business person because they sense and value the experience that goes along with even the smallest of things. My vision, and what ultimately evolved into my theme, was this idea of building connections, which morphed into more of a physical activity of building with blocks, and then equating building blocks to building connections. The meetup space would appear to be made of gigantic wooden building blocks stacked in a fashion as though a giant child had thoughtfully put them together. The building block theme throughout the design marries itself to the idea of building connections. In the space, as well as a large block or platform, if you will, designated for a professional building block stacker to create structures each day. Daily drawings will be held for a chance to knock down the creation, and then a new one is built each day. Everything in the space appears as though it was fashioned from a set of random wooden blocks, and so there is a randomness to the structure itself. At the end of the show, my vision would also be that the blocks used in the experience are then packaged up and donated to local elementary schools or daycares and charity organizations. This is my overall rendering of the design space, referred to as block. I'm sure you're noticing right away that there seems to be a misalignment of pieces in the exhibit. However, that was intentional because when watching a child play with blocks, they aren't exactly precise in the placement of the blocks. The IAEE logo is intended to appear as though the large block has been branded, and then across the top is the tagline, making connections, build a network, and gives nod to A to Z Inc., who sponsored the space. Along with the juxtaposition of the larger-than-life blocks are furniture pieces that are intended to resemble blocks as well, as though, again, a child fashioned them together or used what they had in order to to make bar stools and in this case, seating over on the left side. Towards the back of the space is the bar area, and from this angle you can't see it, but on the back wall there are more bar stools. It was the hope when designing the space that no matter where anybody might be sitting or standing inside block, that they would be able to have a fairly decent view of the professional block stacker going about his work in the middle. There are also chair height bar stools centered around or scattered around the center block area with the intention that folks can get a front seat view, if you will, to what's going on. My greatest design inspiration was taken from the art exhibit at EuroShop in 2016. You can see that up in the left-hand corner of this screen. Along with that, after watching the video of what I call the crazy card stacking guy, over on the right side, I melded these two ideas together, and that's where I came up with this vision of these large building blocks, and again, equating that back to the idea of building connections and building a network within this space. As you can see down below, my color palette was inspired by a poster. The indigo and the maroon colors are naturally occurring colors you see in nature, and kind of, I felt, flowed well with the definitely natural feel of the space. I characterize or sum up the design style for the space as rustic chic. It's clear that when you walk into the space, there is definitely an intention. The function of the room is clear. It's to have a beverage and to notice the activity basically in the center of the space, which is the block builder. The design style elements for rustic chic do include inviting seating that would facilitate conversation, which I think this space does. And they have a few natural elements that create visual impact, but there isn't a lot of decor in the rustic chic design style. It definitely incorporates natural elements of wood and metal, which I feel this space does. And coincidentally, a couple of the brighter colors found in nature happen to be maroon and indigo, which were colors I was inspired by before I had even determined that rustic chic would be the design style I was using. This is the floor plan for block. It is enclosed on two sides. The hope was that the space would feel a bit more inviting, maybe even a bit cozy, in order to reduce the noise and possibly facilitate more conversation. There's plenty of space, and as you can see, the block stacking experience is over there on the left. And like I had mentioned before, pretty much wherever you're at in this space, you're able to see the experience that is taking place. There's entrances, on the left side and at the bottom of the screen. This is a close-up view of the base that the block stacker will be putting his creations on every day. It allows both patrons of block and those passing by to stop and take in the experience. That is the reason that it is extended out of the actual building just a little bit. I was concerned about the noise. The intent of this space was to facilitate conversation. So the flooring is a rubberized material in order to absorb the noise. And the structure itself is actually made with a veneer called Luna wood, which isn't solid wood, but is actually thin sheets of wood. It's light, pliable, and it works well in a situation like this one. For my pre-show engagement, individuals who are registered for the IAEE trade show will receive a block in a box. The attendees and exhibitors will receive this. It's a building block wrapped with a wood veneer band. The veneer band is printed with an invitation and instructions to bring the block to block in exchange for a complimentary beverage. The block itself is also branded with the IAEE logo, which ties back into the oversized blocks with the IAEE branding on the structure itself. The block is sent to the attendees in a wood veneer box with the IAEE Expo label across the top. At the show, while patrons or attendees are turning in their block for their beverage of choice, they will also be encouraged to submit their name in a daily drawing. The block guests turn in, along with the other blocks provided by IAEE, are used by the professional block stacker to build a larger-than-life building block structure each day of the show. At the end of the day, attendees' names are drawn to win the opportunity to knock it all down. Attendees must register daily for a chance to win. This daily requirement for registration will hopefully increase traffic and obviously repeat traffic to the space. The blocks are also available at each seating area within block for attendees to come up with their own building block creations. For my post-show engagement, it's actually a post-show mailer, I suppose. It's a veneer postcard, again a wood laminate veneer postcard that includes a message about seeing the attendee at next year's IAEE Expo trade show. And I chose this wood veneer postcard so that hopefully it will trigger a memory of their participation in block in the overall experience. And this concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for your time and attention.